So if that's the case, just feel free to stop me, and be happy to answer them when they come in, if they come in. So, can everyone see my screen?
Yep, we sure can.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm actually logged in, but all right. And everyone sees just an InternRocket logo?
We do.
All right, fantastic. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. So yeah, today we've got a presentation of InternRocket, specifically geared to speak to school districts. And so just going to go over a quick overview. What is InternRocket? What makes it unique? And then just do 5 quick things that are free solutions for schools. That's a big thing that we do at InternRocket, is all of our solutions for schools are free. So there's no charge to the schools. And yeah, and we go over a little bit about how to get started. So first off, on InternRocket, it's a social network. There's users, there's companies, and users and companies come together through what we call postings. And they kind of relate to those two things, and that's how they find each other and work with each other and all that. So on InternRocket, we've got the users, and we've got the companies, like I mentioned, and then the postings here. So you'll notice that it feels a lot like maybe you might see a job posting board, but there's the companies and the people, and so it's also kind of like a social network too. So maybe a little bit like LinkedIn. Another thing that you'll notice on the left-hand side, I don't know if you can see my mouse or not, but we do matches. So very similar to like a dating website, but for your career. So we've got a nifty algorithm that helps people match up with the next best step for their investing in their career. So the big thing that really, because that makes us different than, job boards that you're going to see around out there. But the thing that really, really makes us unique is the way that we enable companies to help students invest smarter in their future. We kind of adopt and subscribe to a lean philosophy. And so that might sound a little vague now, but I'll jump into exactly what that means by starting with a little bit of what we consider to be the problem and the pain. So we all know that students change their major a lot, and that can be very costly and expensive. One thing I always like to do, and this we'll kind of launch off with making this interactive right away. The question I like to ask people is, what do you suppose the number one question a junior or a senior in high school would get from, say, an uncle at a barbecue? Anybody there? I don't know if people have audio.
Can you repeat your question?
Sure, yeah. What do you suppose the number one question a junior or senior in high school gets from, say, like an uncle at a barbecue?
What's your major?
What are they going to major in college?
That's right. Yeah, and
Yep.
I've asked this question to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, and they all have the same answer, because as a country, this is what we ask our youth and our children. And the depressing thing is, the statistics tell us they have no idea. They really don't know. And we can't really expect them to know, because they don't have many experiences to base this decision on. It's a pretty big decision. And, they just don't know. And the ones that do know, there's statistics out there, varying ranges. Some colleges report that 50% of students enter into college undeclared, some as high as 70, some as high as 80. Not all of colleges report this type of thing. But even the ones that do say they know and declare, what we know is most of them change their major. And so what we realize is, our youth don't know the answer to this question, but yet they're being asked to decide and make the biggest decision possibly of their career investment plan with no plan at all. And it leads to some pretty bad things. So we all know the cost of education is really, really out of control. and that, the return on investment isn't so good either, with 54% of bachelor degree holders under the age of 25 jobless or underemployed. So, the days seem to be gone where, if you just get a degree, it equals, 2.5 kids, a white picket fence, and the American dream. And so this strategy of kind of leaping in and putting all your eggs into one basket, from a point of not really having a plan or no understanding, seems to be a little bit archaic. And so it's real and it's really bad. And so that's why we started InternRocket. And again, so this represents the all the eggs in one basket plan, and to come in full circle to what makes InternRocket truly unique out in the marketplace is how we create new investment opportunities for students to explore their career. Exploratory learning, you've heard it maybe called that. We help companies create these new opportunities that could range all the way on the left side to simple challenges that we'll go through later that integrate with Khan Academy, all the way, ramping up to 5-hour projects, 10-hour projects, 20-hour projects, job shadows, mentorships, part-time, full internships, summer-long internships, part-time work, full-time work, and it kind of ramps up. And the idea is simple. Our algorithm helps students determine where they are, and work really drives it forward. So if a student comes onto the application and says, I really don't know what I like to do, what the algorithm will do is it will recommend to them several of these micro internships and challenge more on the left side of this spectrum, so they could and ones that are also immediately available, perhaps even local, and so that they could rapidly experiment and figure out, over the course of a couple weeks, of these 8 things that they tried, which one do they actually like? And then the ones that they like, now the algorithm starts to shift and show them things that are maybe a little longer in duration, maybe don't start immediately, maybe are paid, so they're a little more competitive. And the really cool thing is as the student works their way through understanding what dream job means to them, they're gaining the experience and the skills and building the network it kind of takes to get to the next step, if that makes sense. So that's what really makes us unique, is how we help companies craft these opportunities. When we started with the idea that we were going to help small businesses connect with college interns. The internship process and how to get interns is pretty outdated. And so we just wanted to kind of move that online, make it social, make it friendly, and have, people be able to connect online. And we're really, really excited that we've got over 25% conversion rate on the website. So about a fourth of the people that come to internrocket.com end up signing up. So it tells us that people really want this kind of easy access to opportunities, and find our social network style refreshing from a job board. Also, all these opportunities that we're helping these companies craft in these new ways are 100% unique. So you're not going to come to InternRocket and find an opportunity that you can find anywhere else on the web. A lot of these feedback we get from the talent side is that, the job boards seem to be mashups of regurgitated generic postings. So anyways, when we first started off, we started with the small businesses and the colleges. But then when we started talking to larger companies and listening to what they wanted, we realized that as the companies get larger, they become interested in helping younger and younger people, to the point where even enterprise level customers are interested in helping students in the elementary level. And then you get this kind of STEM movement where enterprise level customers are a little bit concerned about the production of human capital and that they're not meeting their needs. And so it kind of goes there. And so for our larger prospects, we offer different solutions. And so I just want to touch on this really quick, just to kind of give a rounded out view of what InternRocket is. So it used to be that companies would go just recruit in the job market. So once people got their degrees, they'd spit out into the job market and they find each other on job boards, and that's great. And then someone decided we should start an internship program and access these students while they're still in school and kind of, get a leg up, so to speak. And you see this happening, and the companies driving deeper and deeper into the education system, kind of like you would see in professional sports recruiting, where you've got kids in high school signing letters of intent with larger professional sports teams, even younger in junior high and all this other stuff. And so what we do, of course, we move it all online, and that makes it very handy for people. We make it social, so students can follow companies and get real-time updates when there's internships or opportunities to work with that company available. All sorts of cool stuff. The matching, of course. But what we offer the larger companies is this increased pipeline. And so we have these digital and automated solutions for them that really help them scale. And we'll talk about, I referenced the Khan Academy STEM challenges. We're integrated with Khan Academy. And so I'll mention that again later, but just know, as you work down the left side of that spectrum that I showed you earlier, the solutions become more digital and more automated. And so they don't have to be on-prem. They could earn badges and these sorts of things attributable to the company, as perhaps even the issuer of the badge. And so it really helps them create a bigger top part of their funnel. It's very, very helpful to students to be in those funnels, because those are opportunities for jobs that hopefully they love and are really good at. And so now I'm going to switch back over to the school and the larger, what we call like the education economy. One thing that we really believe strongly in is, we all come to work each day to solve what we consider to be the biggest problem in education, which is that everyone is guessing. And, companies, schools struggle to keep their curriculum up to pace with the daily changes companies are making, and for good reason. It's kind of a unreasonable request to ask a school to maintain a curriculum with the way curriculum is developed with the ever-changing needs of companies. And then you've got students who, as we mentioned before, and their parents not really understanding how to make these investments in their career, because they don't know what they want to do, because they don't really understand what needs to be done. And so on the left, we've got schools, and on the right, we've got companies. And this thing kind of in between them is this degree, the certificate, that kind of thing. The thing is with just a kind of stamped out degree that says you graduated with this GPA, and we try to get some information in there, grade levels, certain courses and that kind of thing. But what we believe is we're really missing a lot of information and a lot of data that can really help clarify and make the education economy more transparent, so that parents and students understand exactly what companies need, and that companies, from creating these unique posting types, have a real-time kind of market-based solution to send us signals for what exactly it is they need. And so I'm going to replace this certificate with individual skills represented by badges. So the cool thing now is you can see, it's very transparent, because the school and the students within the school can see that this certain company cares about this skill or these set of skills. Another company cares about another set, and so on. And you can see at a plain, just really quickly, who cares about what here represented. We've got a single department, cares about this, and that information is, very, very handy. You've got, there's a skill that no companies really care about, or very little companies. There's another way to see that skill. There's a certain skill that many companies care about. And so when investing in the type of skills that you want to acquire and the proficiencies that you want to gain, you know kind of like what you're investing in, if that makes sense. And again, the transparency is key, because now we can see that, this particular company, of all the ones that are interested in that, has a 5-star rating from all their interns, whereas this company only has a 4-star rating from all their interns or people participating in any of their programs. And so you see the idea being that there's lots of information out there that we're missing, And so we're trying to help create a platform that will bring this information to light. And we're already getting started. And so we're really excited about the traction that we've been able to gain and all the companies that are signing up and finding these new posting types very beneficial to the recruitment pipeline. And so the last thing I want to talk about as far as the overview goes is just the STEM challenge. So the STEM challenge is something we developed for a particular company, and we're releasing it to everyone. But it's at the very top of that recruitment funnel. It's 100% fully automated. And the idea is if there is a company, in your area, in your school district's area, that happens to have a particular interest in helping students learn particular skills that they need, and they can come onto InternRocket and create what we call STEM challenge. Every time you go into InternRocket, I don't know what that's doing there. Every time we go into InternRocket, when a company creates a posting, they say, I want this done. They fill out this really simple form. And in this particular one, they've said, we like students from a certain age to, we'd want to encourage them and challenge them to do an hour of drawing with code. So once it gets done, the company can share it. And then we've got, there's all different ways the student can find it. They could find it in their kind of feed or their matches. Again, this one pops up to the top because this student, maybe isn't very confident. They can accept the challenge. They then go over to the Khan Academy website, who the integration is with. They complete the challenge. Khan Academy's stuff is absolutely incredible. What that company is doing is absolutely incredible. Do tons of lessons every day and issue all kinds of badges. So once the student completes the challenge, the system automatically understands that they've completed the challenge, and all their badges get put on their profile, as does the particular challenge that was completed. And then from the company side, now the student is able to find out about other things. They can follow the company can follow them, and the student is able to find out about other ways that they could kind of further explore opportunities at this company. So we did a pilot. This is some time ago, but it's still, I think, handy information. InternRocket issued a challenge to do an hour of code. Within 48 hours, we had 11 badges earned. The response on social was incredible. Lots of people were sharing it and liking it. And so I just want to share a couple comments. This is from a local business owner talking about his student who did it, said it worked basically, and they're really excited for other opportunities, and some teachers saying, come do this in our class, which we were really excited about too. So that's the gist of it, and I'd be happy to jump on the site, answer any questions, run through any of this, and I will also just kind of leave it here to make sure we get to any of the questions from the beginning.
So great. Well, thank you so much for that, Mike.
Yeah, of course.
And I guess my first question is, so for folks to get started, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, well, in the next day or so, you're going to be able to go, and right now you could go to newsroom.internrocket.com/demo. And so I'd be happy to send that link over to you. And it's just a way to kind of give us a little bit of information, let us know what you're looking for. Are you looking for like a single sign-on integration or like a private account access type integration? Are you a high school with a career center that's looking to add a revenue stream to your school? Or are you looking to do like a district-wide implementation? That kind of thing. So it's like an intake form that basically will kind of put you on our list to reach out to and talk about, getting started and answering all your questions.
That'd be great. Yeah, go ahead and send that link over to me, and I'll make sure that folks get it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, kind of using a interesting place for that link right now, but it's there, and you can get there. So
okay.
Yeah, the other thing, issuing digital badges. Schools can become badge issuers. We're happy to provide that service. That's not like a free service to become a badge issuer, but you can issue digital badges for free. the idea being that you could help students earn all the awesome badges that Khan Academy offers for free, and that your local companies might want to offer too. The other thing is, it's a great way to connect with local companies and just help make the education kind of a little more transparent. Increasing the experiential learning opportunities as these companies post these opportunities. They're great experiential learning opportunities for your students to really help them kind of test drive a career before they make a huge decision without a plan. And then the one that we've seen schools become really interested in is if they do have a career center. InternRocket offers paid software for the companies, also for the students, but there is a free level at both the student level, and of course for all the schools they get free access. If students want to upgrade on their own, it's $5 a month. The company side has pricing from $40 ranging all the way up to $900, and our enterprise solutions are even more. And how we partner with schools is if schools want to introduce their local companies to the software, and their local companies sign up for one of the pro subscriptions, what we do is we take a portion, sometimes up to as much as half of their monthly subscription, and we send it to the school to help the school with their budget and funding and continue to do the things that they're doing. So I don't know if anyone has any questions about any of that, but with that said, I think the slide deck is done.
A couple of follow-up questions. So we saw a lot about how the student experience looks. Are there kind of data aggregated pages that, if I'm a teacher and I want to see how many of my kids are using InternRocket, or conversely, if I'm a company, see how many people are participating in my challenge? Are there screens for that, and are you able to demo that?
You know what? There are not screens for that right now, but that is under development, so it'll be out soon. Yeah, and that's exactly right. We've got a long list of requests that people want, and that one is very much at the top of our list. When these implementations started, conversations started happening. That was one of the first things we heard from both sides, schools and companies, that they just want to be able to see what's going on at a glance and see the data at a higher level. They can certainly manage everything at a glance. We've got, like, from the company level, you can manage, all the postings you have. It's really, companies have found it really cool. Kind of make this bigger here. So these are all the postings that we have as InternRocket. And so what happens is each one of these cards, this whole thing here, if there is something that needs my attention, it gets the red marker and it comes to the top. So my job is just to kind of get the red out, and then all the students know exactly, what's going on at any given time. Let me see if I could pop one open here. Like software tester, for example. We'll go to just kind of demo some more stuff. But so these are like hired interns. These are ones that have applied, and there's a matching, says, oh, these people are maybe a better fit than others. So I could, hire them and go there. So that's like really handy. But from like the administering it, because this is more than just a posting platform, it actually, from the company side, they manage everything right here too. And from a school side, you can manage the whole program. You can manage your whole internship program from here. So like messaging, for example, let me see here, I'm kind of distracted with trying to talk and do this at the same time, sorry. For messaging, for example, the system will help the students work their way through the task in the program. So automated messages, all that kind of stuff will happen here. So the idea is the system automatically will prompt them and request an update from them from time to time. And, they'll need to give an update. If they get stuck, they could ask for help, and that's a status as well. And they manage them all the way to it being complete. When something is marked as complete, then you can rate them. And then, so from like a school district standpoint or individual teacher, if they just want to see all the students in their class, they'd be able to see, you know, all the stuff that's going on, any messages going back and forth, you know, and just keep an eye on everything, make sure everyone's progressing and no one's stuck, if that makes sense. So.
No, absolutely. That sounds great. A couple of follow-up questions. How does a student manage their footprint within InternRocket? Are they able to, you know, if they did some work and that they don't want it displayed quite yet, or have you?
Yeah. There's all different kind of levels. So when we started working with school districts, obviously privacy is a massive concern. And so, you know, what I'm going to demo now is a private adult account. For students, it's very much locked down to the point where people inside the students inside the school districts basically don't have profiles, just for safety reasons. Their profiles are there kind of, but they're not in a sense too. Basically, if they're under the 13 level, the profile, they're just kind of not there at all. They're able to earn their badges and keep their badges and interact with company challenges, but no messages between companies ever happen. Once they're above 13, some more things kind of open up. But you know, they really need to kind of take their account private to message and get access to some more of the interactive opportunities with companies, if that makes sense. But in terms of profile, for like an adult private account, there's full control over everything. You get this like really nifty thing, and we're always working to make it better. Education, job history. If I connected with Khan Academy, all my badges would display as earlier. I could add a video about, I've got skills I'd like to improve. If skills are actually verified, they'll come up in a different color. Like let's say a company says you need X, Y, and Z skill to complete this challenge. When the challenge is completed in the review process, you know, they'll be able to say they showed sufficiency in these 2 skills, but maybe not the 3rd. And so those will be kind of a verified skill. And then there's like a social feed. So if we're doing stuff on the app, you know, that, you know, you can control kind of what you want, you know, seen there as well. So yeah, and you know, you could edit your profile. Is a very similar kind of flow to you know, creating an internship.
Fantastic. And what about for parents? Can parents, are there interfaces or UIs for parents to kind of see how their children or child is doing?
Yeah, there are. And that's also under development, but we'll be coming out with the first launch of with school districts. The teachers and the parents kind of have what we call a mentor profile. So the mentor profile is basically allows some kind of high level views of what's going on, and anywhere from basic to full access to anything the student is seeing, doing, messaging, anything like that, depending on the privacy settings, if that makes sense. But yeah, definitely. It's really cool. The mentor profile, mentors can subscribe to feeds. So like on our explore page, for example, or we'll go here on the search page. So we'll do like, well, actually, sorry, over here, explore page. So these are all the cool opportunities, right? And parents can, or mentors, counselors, internship coordinators, all that kind of stuff, they can basically come through here and select things that they like, you know, even create like a custom search. And let's say there's, the parent knows that the child is really interested in this certain industry. Internet marketing, let's say. And so they want to know about any internships that come up, or even companies in this industry that join the app, that are paid, you know, that are, you know, maybe of this certain thing. And they could do as many searches as they want. Presence needed, virtual, whatever, location, skill tags. They can do as many of these searches as they want, depending on their plan, and subscribe to these feeds. And the idea is when new they'll immediately get the ones they want, but when new things come to the app, they get instant kind of notifications. And then imagine like, swipe left, not interested, swipe right, am interested. And then all the ones that they kind of approve, they get a page. Imagine here it says, mentor one, Bob or Jane or something, right? And then their student, any people who are following them, so if it's a teacher, it could be multiple people following them, get instant notifications of anything that goes on their mentor's profile, basically on their feed. And then if students apply to those, they get to see, okay, are they applying? Are they getting accepted? How is the internship going? Once it's completed, what rating did they get? And message back and forth and really help them along their way, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. It's very exciting, and I look forward to seeing some of those interfaces. That's great.
Yeah, we're super, super excited about it too.
And what's the release date again for the next version?
It's still undetermined at this point. We're working hard on it, but not quite ready to throw a date out there for you. But you'll be the first to know, that's for sure.
Fantastic. Well, Mike, this was great, and thank you very much for walking us through the power and potential with the InternRocket, both from a student but also a company perspective. Yep.
Yeah, this is Vanna. I'm sorry. I have one quick question.
Yeah.
Sorry. Hi, Mike.
Hi.
I actually work with the IlliniCloud as well. I was just wondering, do you have any connections with career cruising?
No, we don't.
Because I know that's what my kids use in the middle schools.
Yeah.
I just think this is kind of a really neat concept, and I would love. I don't know if this goes down into the middle schools, and I know they also use it in the high schools as well. But career cruising seems sometimes to put them all over the place at middle school, and I wonder, maybe in your third or fourth version, if there's one that would be applicable to even younger kids, that would help them even start thinking about career choices. Maybe not so much even for career choices, but also in their understanding of why it's important. Even if you think that maybe you're not going to go into a career that would require maybe a 4-year institution, but maybe something that is more vocational, but why some foundational courses are important.
That's right.
Because some things that I'm with my background with education, a lot of times the kids think, I'm going to go to the we have Parkland here. I'm based in Champaign, and it's a really strong community college, and a lot of kids want to go to Parkland and they want to get their associate degrees, and they have these ideas that I want to become a radiologist and read x-rays, or I want to become the nurse practitioner, or want to become the mechanic, and so they sort of blow off the early math courses or science or whatever, because they think, it's just a community college, and they'll say that, and what they don't understand is, no, you really do need, sometimes even more importantly, those courses and things like that. And I wonder if, down the road, some of these versions would help these younger kids understand why it's important, like sort of maybe not even career internship, but maybe like these internships for, I'm trying to think, like these thoughts, like I was going like, this would be like really neat, not even for career internship, but even for younger kids, like these pathways of, okay, what do I need to get to look at some of these, maybe even non-traditional careers. Maybe I don't know how to define them. I mean, we refer to them as non-traditional, which I think is wrong in some ways, but where it would say you really do need to do well in algebra and calculus and physics and science and all these things, because they're important when you want to get into a place like Parkland, because it's a very good community college, and a lot of people are trying to do that because it may jumpstart you into a 4-year institution even.
Right.
I just think that this is the concept is really strong for a lot of springboards. Now, I mean, it may be beyond your scope, but I you know, I don't know. For us here, we use career cruising, which would fit nicely into your main vision.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with career cruising.
I'm not too familiar.
Okay, so what it does is that the kids go on career cruising, they answer some questions, and it'll say, here are the top, 10 careers that you might want to do. And so kids walk out of there saying, oh, I'm going to be a professional baseball player, or I'm going to be an engineer, or I'm going to be X, Y, and Z. And so some of them think that this is what I should be doing with my life. So then they go into high school or whatever, and they think that these are their paths for school.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, and we're like, when I say we're not too familiar, I mean we know of career cruising, and that's helpful. What you said there, we try to keep what our vision original, and so we try not to look at too much what other people are doing. But what you're saying there makes a lot of sense, and so I just want to go to this one slide again and maybe talk a little bit further about it. So, right?
So this is where when you started talking about this slide, it's where it kind of clicked, where I thought, gosh, both with the idea of what they need to be doing based on what those results were.
Yeah.
The types of companies they might want to work in, or what kind of career they do want, because it can range what they're told.
Right.
Excuse me.
I think for us, it's all about how do we help the children, and again, like that scenario where you've got the junior, senior in high school getting asked, what do you want to do? Or they come out of this career cruising exercise and they think they want to be this certain thing because of what? And it's like in any other big investment plan, people rely heavily on up-to-date and accurate information. Accuracy really demands experiences in this plan. A realistic experience of what is it I'm going to be doing. Gallup Research studies employee engagement. They put out studies on it. The last one says 7 out of 10 people are disengaged at their job. And when we hear that, it just saddens us, because it's like 7 out of 10, that's 70% of American workers who are just in the daily grind, just kind of waiting for the weekend, and everyone loses in that scenario. And when we look at why is that happening, we think it's by and large because the education economy is not transparent. It's not easy to navigate. The information is not up to date. It is not accurate in terms of, the experiences that are demanded here to make good decisions and sound investments. You're investing your time in your future career. And so, we do offer this all the way down to elementary. At different levels. It starts in elementary. It starts very much in skills. But the really cool thing is the real-time accurate information. So, for example, when you look at the diploma kind of image, excuse the clip artness of that, if that's a word, just kind of made that up. But that is all based on historical information that is then used. Historical information. So once maybe the data gets to 10 years and it's sufficient or statistically significant, however they want to do it, then curriculum is developed. Curriculum is then approved and voted in and all that, and then it's implemented, and it's just not up to date, right? But in this scenario, you get companies with the ability to send real-time signals. I mean, a company can go on there today, create an opportunity, create new skill tags that didn't exist yesterday, right? And send a real-time signal to the entire school entire school district of what skills are important. And then we will see skills emerge that are outdated. They're just no longer needed. Or some new skills emerge, or current skills that say, hey, you know what? Almost every company says it's really important to communicate. It's really important to have grit. Our application can do really interesting things with it being online. We could measure things like listening. Do you listen well, right? Or are you too easily distracted? Are you responsible are you responsive even when a check-in is requested? How long does it take you on average to give a check-in? We can measure all these intangible soft skills. We can measure, do you say please and thank you, all that kind of stuff, right? To being on time, to delivering things on time, to really hard skills like, are you sufficient in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, right? And we'll see certain skills that are very, very, very important to most every job, most every vocation. And then those skills become the foundation of what every child needs to learn. And I understand my estimation is, I don't come from an education background. My estimation is that that's what, we're trying to do with curriculum. But the reality is we're doing it with historical information. The biggest companies in our country are consistently not satisfied with the speed of curriculum updates, and they're consistently not satisfied, and very concerned for the forecast of what kind of the skills gap and what they need, and they are forecasting they need. And so we deal with companies that know in 30 years they're going to need this many people doing this certain thing, right? And why in the world don't we allow them to tell the schools? And why can't students start working on that tomorrow? And if that changes and shifts, well, that's part of the world, but this company will be responsible to send that signal. I mean, I've been in these meetings where, the university or the college or the school brings in the companies, it's kind of mandated around here, and the companies say, we've been talking about this for 5 years, and and the schools are stuck because the companies, they're changing every day. Well, how are you supposed to push something through this kind of curriculum updating process that can take years if it's changing every day on the other side? You never can nail it down to get it implemented, if that makes sense. And so, what we're trying to do is create these real-time market-based solutions for companies to send these signals of what's actually needed and when. So I don't know if that kind of resonates with what you're saying, but I'm trying to think down here, like youngsters, this is
okay.
kind of a landing page. It's like, play with it, get in there, mix it up, you'll see that these certain skills, everyone needs them. So you should get started, start earning some badges, stand out, add some badges to your profile. And then, when the time comes, you can kind of graduate to these, more micro experiences with actual companies, as opposed to a company just saying, we want you to learn math, which is cool, don't get me wrong. But now it becomes really cool when you meet someone at a company that has the star rating that you're interested in and can actually get to work with them, because you've already got the experience, you've already got their attention by getting the experience that they've said they want. And so you're networked, you've got the relationship, and you've got a little bit of experience to kind of springboard you to the next kind of level as you continue down this path. And the idea is it's rapid experimentation. So you're not over investing in something you don't understand. You're not deciding what are you going to do with 4 years, sometimes 5 years of your life, and spending, tens of thousands of dollars pursuing something you have no idea if you're going to like it. We all know the stories of people who end up studying marketing and graduate and realize they hate it. And then they end up working in a different career, and it's not all horrible, because you're going to be very, very well-rounded if you come out of our education system. But wouldn't it have been nice if all those specific courses you took it actually applied? I mean, you spent a lot of time and money being proficient in those things. And then the worst yet is when someone studies marketing 4 or 5 years and they get out into the work world, they realize they hate it, and then they stay. And that's the 7 in 10 problem that we're concerned about. You know, the report says 7 in 10 people are disengaged at their job, but only 25% of those 7 are seeking new employment. And the question is, why in the world would they stay there if they hate it? You know, and when we like really think about it, we think it's because their margin has significantly decreased. You know, students are graduating in incredible amounts of debt. You know, and what other option is there? You know, do they repeat? Do they go back to school? Well, why would they do that? There's no guarantee that they're going to get a better expected outcome than they just received, which is, this didn't really work, you know? For example, I had a student contact me the other day, sent me an email, someone I know, friend of a friend, that kind of a thing, and said, oh, you know, I love InternRocket. This concept is so incredible. I really wish this would have been there before I decided to study, you know, this thing. And they said, I just don't like this thing, but would you help me get a job? Do you know anyone who's hiring for this thing? And I'm just like, it's really hard to recommend you right now, you know, because you just told me you don't like it. But the thing is he's stuck. This is his job. This is the degree. Right. This is the product of his 4-year investment. And so he's got to go. He's got bills, debt coming in, you know, and he wants to start his life. Who knows? Maybe he wants to start a family. He needs to earn money to survive. And then our employers get stuck with someone trying to pass themselves off as excited for something they're not excited about, you know? And so our hope is that if we can get people together, you know, working on things that they truly care about because they're not overinvested and the margin isn't squeezing in earlier, you know, that employees will be more productive, people will be happier, and, you know, just be a win-win scenario.
And just the last question I have, do you have PD that goes along with this? Like if schools start using it, do you have professional development so that the teachers or the administrators understand how to engage with it, or so that the students, like, how do they learn? Or do you think that it's self-explanatory enough? Well,
our goal is a self-explanatory, intuitive user interface. That is a very difficult thing to meet. And so to kind of fill that gap until we get there, we're going to continue to invest in the software, continue to reach that goal. But yes, in the meantime, professional development is definitely something we can offer. You know, so simple things like this webinar, or, you know, coming in and checking in, you know, having, you know, just a kind of a meeting, an instructional professional development kind of event where we work with teachers, we work with internship coordinators, parents even, because parents can engage and help on our application as well. So yeah, that's definitely something that we would love to do.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for the questions.
Yeah, I wish more people were on to hear this, because this is really very cool. But well, I know a lot of people watch the videos once Jat posts them on our cloud channel. So and I'm going to tell some people that I know that do some stuff in the schools
Awesome.
to listen, because I think that there's a lot that we need to be doing in this area. So this is on a different thing. I as a volunteer, I sit on a foundation for the CU Schools Foundation here in Champaign, Urbana, and this is one of the areas that I deal with, which is that transition between like college to career and readiness. Sure. So this is something that's a big interest to me, like how, because it's even like my son, I have 4 kids, and my oldest just started as a freshman in high school, and people are already asking him, well, what do you want to do with your life? I'm like, he doesn't even know what to do, you know, tomorrow. And asking him, and he's panicking. Like, well, I don't know what to do, Mom. And I'm like, you're a smart kid. You're a funny kid. You're creative. You're going to figure this out, but you don't have to do this now.
That's right. Yeah. And
like, I don't want you to be unhappy. Like, I don't want you to be that 70%.
That's
Because
right.
life is hard enough. It will beat you up enough. You don't have to have a job that does that, you know?
Yes,
So,
yes, that's
like,
exactly
I want
right.
you to find something that you get up in the morning and feel passionate about and empowered by. And I
Yeah.
don't care what that is, you know? There are so many options, but we just seem to want, like, there's so many, like, oh, you have to get up and get this path and go to a 4-year institution and do this and do all this. And there are a lot of people that, it's almost like, here, you're going to do this and this, and they want you to say, I'm going to be a doctor or a lawyer or this or a teacher or that,
Yeah.
all very valuable. But, when you're 14, it's hard to know that, or even when you're 16 or 18, it's hard to know.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, that's the whole thing, is like, what more do parents want than that, right? No one
I'm
wants their
happy he
child.
remembered it was garbage day today. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
he
and that's
put
the
it
thing
on as
is,
a curve. Like, that was a win for me right now. And he's a
right?
good kid, So
Yeah,
there are a lot of them like him, and I applaud the work that you are trying to do to help the field of education, so that where the companies get employees that are productive and
that's
aren't
right.
just waiting for the weekend, because that brings a lot more productivity, a lot more benefit into the workplace.
Yeah, I mean, who do you want to be in a meeting with? Someone who's waiting for the weekend, or someone who's just completely in and
Engaged.
just excited to be there? Yeah, so yeah, that's exactly right. When you talk about people are already asking your son, one of the things, as we kind of really tried to just think deeply about this, is we thought, that question is really dangerous, because when we ask our children, what do you want to do when you grow up? They're expected to have an answer. And if they don't have an answer, the social pressure says you're unprepared, and then so they answer, they do, right? And by and large, they'll say something. And then when they say something, their answer becomes an expected outcome, and as they start to pursue this outcome, they can kind of get trapped in this thing that really they shouldn't be in, and so we think the better question to ask our students is not, what is it that you want to do? What are you going to do? Or a product of that, where are you going to go to school to do it, because schools specialize. We think the best question is, what are you doing right now to learn what it is you're supposed to do, right? And that's the thing, and that's what we've tried to create. We tried to create an answer to that question. What are you doing now to learn and get experiences so you understand what it is you were meant to do, right? And we tried to create these micro experiences so people can start to experiment quickly in a low risk environment, so they could answer that question,
Right.
And have a solid plan when they do decide to make an investment, should they need to.
Chad, I don't know if you remember, or if you went on one of the tours when we were out in Las Vegas for the K-12 Federation, but they have one of their schools almost has like an internship program built into it. And one of the teachers was saying that there was a student that was convinced that they wanted to be a dentist, and so had signed up to be in the dental intern program. And basically, after day 2, realized he or she, I can't remember, hated looking into people's mouths. And said, and this was in high school, and said, what a great thing to recognize.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
This was like, I'm going to be a dentist, or a dental hygienist or whatever, and then realized, I hate looking into people. I can't do this all day. Like, but
thank goodness they found out now.
As opposed to going through all of high school and then applying and getting into a program and putting money down, where maybe you don't get into that until 6 months or a semester or 2 into it, and then realizing, I can't actually, like, people breathing on me, I do not want that. Like,
Yeah, and there's
something
so
very
much.
real, you know?
Yeah, it just weighs. Like there's social pressure on top of financial pressure,
Right.
because it's like, how is that going to look if you tell your family and friends who you've told you were going to be a dentist your whole
Yeah.
life, and you went to school to be a dentist and you invested to be a dentist, that you're not going to be a dentist anymore because
Right.
you found out you didn't like it? I mean, do you think that they might think, wow, that was kind of foolish to pursue all that, but that's just kind of how it works. And, like I said before, the days seem to be gone where, you can just get through the college system and have the American dream on waiting for you on the other side. Things are changing. It's a global environment. Things are very competitive. And, we need to be very intentional, and we need to have a plan, and we need to invest wisely by making small investments to gain realistic experiences and get understanding before you kind of continue to invest larger and larger. But so yeah, this really appreciate your comments and your thoughts there. I know it's noon. I don't know if Jat needs to end it. We're kind of 1 minute over here, or 1 o'clock.
No, I think we're good. And again, Mike, thank you so much. This has been very enlightening, and I'm very excited to continue the great work that we're doing together. And I'll be posting this out on the IlliniCloud YouTube channel, so feel free to share that out. Should be up within 24 hours. And Vanna, thank you so much for your questions. I thought they were very insightful, and enjoyed the dialogue.
Yeah, thank you all so much. And if anyone ever has any questions, you could just email me directly at mike@internrocket.com. Thanks everyone for having me.
Thanks, Mike.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.